just for a minute. Close your eyes for a second.
Hi Posh fam, so the Real Housewives of Atlanta episode 2 has just aired and I am going to tell you what I think. Alright, before we get to all my crazy thoughts, guys, please subscribe to my channel. With that said, let's get into the shenanigans. That was the last episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, very quickly, it was all over the place. I'm gonna try and summarize as best as I can, okay? Because the episode was giving yet not giving, so it wasn't coherent. It was just, there was layers and pockets of events that happened, and at the same time I was like, what is this? This is all not meshing well. The editing was kind of off, the videography was off, and now this is coming from a rookie editor, okay? But there was just something that was off about this particular episode. Now let's just start with where it ended from episode 1. There was the gathering at Shamea's party. Obviously Drew was on the hot seat because of Dennis, Porsha's baby daddy. Now in this line of questioning, or in this line of attack, Shamea did say, are you having any intimate relationship with Dennis other than what you have said, that he is your music producer? And you know, in one hand, Porsha was seemingly nonchalant or not interested in the conversation. And when everyone seemed to have an opinion about it, because it did not seem clean. And I would say that it did not look good. Now, I will tell you what I think but first I'm going to tell you how this played out. So Drew explained how Dennis came to be. Dennis was Raf's friend. Dennis was like a family friend to them. Obviously, they knew Dennis from a few years back, which I would think coincided with the same time Porsha introduced the group to her baby daddy Dennis, who was a fiancé at the time. And apparently, they had conversations with her producing music, and Dennis had written some songs based off of his relationship with Porsha, and he wanted Drew to sing the song. I don't know. And anyway, that's about it. Apparently, Dennis invited Porsha to her birthday event, which was supposed to be like a promotional gig of sorts, or reintroducing Dennis into the music as a music producer, and reintroducing Drew as an artist, or signing on to his label or something. And Porsha's angst to grind was the fact that it wasn't the fact that Dennis is producing Drew or whatever. It was more to the fact that Dennis was going to come on the show, obviously as a music producer for Drew. So this is my opinion, and this is what I think. Apparently, before this particular season aired, I don't think Porsha was a going concern, because although Drew had already had a storyline down packed post Raf's separation, and when Porsha was recasted to join the because Kandi left, and obviously the storyline would not mesh well for the other remaining veterans. So it only just didn't seem like a good fit to invite Porsha back. Now, when I'm talking about Kandi leaving, there was Malo that left as well, and there was the other group of girls that left with Malo. So in this vein, Drew already had a storyline down packed, and that was to reintroduce her musical career with Dennis. And that would have been a headline, because of course Porsha may not have been on the cast, and we would have been speculating what's going on, which again was a heavy traffic drive for Drew and her career in music, because bad publicity, no matter how we look at it, sells every time. And so when Porsha became a cast member for this season, obviously Drew already had a storyline down packed, so she was just only going to say, well, you're still going to come on, and you know, you'll be on my storyline and I'll feature you on the scene. Well, I guess Porsha did not want this, because she already was banking on bringing Dennis back for her own storyline. So this is what it is. Dennis was going to be coming back in her life somehow. They will be talking about her and Dennis transitioning as a perfect co-parent, not to come talk about how Dennis is the perfect music producer. So this is exactly why Porsha is upset. This is where the whole issue is stemming from. This is my take. I don't know. If you have any opinion contrary to what I've just said, please come on the comment section and say it. Because for Porsha to pretend like she doesn't know Dennis was working with Drew is a bit of a stretch. Porsha knew. Porsha knows everything that Dennis does. Porsha knows everything that Dennis is about to do. Because we saw how that relationship ended when she went in for Dennis's mom. Like literally, she was almost going to beat Dennis' mom on the show. So there was no way Dennis was going to be coming back on the show with her. I don't think so. If Dennis' mom had an opinion about it, I do not see that happening. Well, Porsha decided to come in hard and say, oh, you're trying to steal my storyline, or you're trying to steal my fiance for storyline to come on this show, and you know I'm going to be on the show. Why would you do that? I gave you help through a brand ambassador for my hairline, Go Naked Hair, and you are a low down, dirty B word. This is where it ended for this particular scene, because there was no resolution. Porsha just, you know, blurted out all she needed to blurt out, and that was it. The girls were just laughing, not exactly sure what to make of the whole revelation, and yeah, they went down to, should I say, cut Shamea's birthday cake, and that was that. The next scene was Angela Oakley introducing us to her husband. Now, episode 1, she kept saying, my man, my man, my man. And I was like, okay, we see him. He's your husband. Okay. But then this particular episode, she, you know, gave us a brief intro about herself. She flips houses, from what I can see. You know, according to her, she's made so much millions from flipping houses. She's got 5 houses to her name, and her husband is an ex-something player, and obviously they are a blended family. From what it seems, they came into the relationship with children, and I think they've had 1 or 2 kids while together. So I don't know. It wasn't exactly very clear the way she said it. I couldn't concentrate because her nose job was just distracting me. Now, I'm not one to body shame, but that nose job was not done well. It seemed like, as an afterthought from a bad nose job, they tried to mold it there. So it doesn't seem like it's real. It seems very fragile. If anything falls on her, that nose is just going to fall apart. Okay? And now this is my take. I think something needs to be done, or nothing anymore, because that nose is hanging by a thread. Quite literally. Now, I don't know if this particular relationship is as solid as she's, you know, reaching for the skies for us to believe. I feel like this particular relationship is on the thread as well, and her last ditch effort to save her marriage to come on the show, I don't know if it's gonna work. The guy cooks and cleans. We've seen that 2 episodes in. I'm not sure what else he can do. Okay, I feel like we're going to be hearing a little bit more depth on this particular relationship, and sad to say, this is another relationship that's going to be going down the Real Housewife train wreck, divorce rail. But what do I know? I don't want anyone to come for me on this YouTube channel, but my opinion, that relationship is not relationshiping. And the same goes for Brit. We also got a bit up close with Brit and her husband, who met during the lockdown. Apparently they had a court ceremony, and now they are thinking about, you know, throwing a big wedding merry-go-round. Now again, this relationship is also, from what I can tell from body language, okay, it's hanging by a thread. There's still time to salvage whatever, because it looks like this relationship is so young, even though it died as COVID-19, you know, died. So we might pick up something from it, but it doesn't look solid. Hopefully the fact that they have renewed their vows in less than 10 years, I mean, where was COVID-19? You know, we are in 2025, or this particular show was shot in 2024. So it tells you a lot that needs to be said. They have renewed their vows. Why? And now they want to do a big wedding celebration post the court marriage that they did. So again, if you can't read between the lines, please read between the lines. That is also singing, "Help me, save me." But Brit is a beautiful, dolled, made-up woman. I'm just gonna leave it there. You can place the lines wherever you need to. Kelly's, with her ongoing divorce, she is also trying to open a new restaurant. Apparently, her ex-husband stole $500,000 from their joint account. So I don't know how that works in the legal system, but I think he took money out. She had to file legal documents to see if she could get some of the money back. I don't know if she has. I don't think she did. It would have been hard to prove because, again, it's not like when you're in the family law, it's so messy. So I think they have a deadline for her restaurant opening. Doesn't look like they're gonna make it because the restaurant we went into seemed like it needed more work than what is happening on Angela's nose. Okay, so I think one of their behind the scenes workman, I just gave it to her that this is not gonna open at the deadline. We are in a mess. We need saving grace to get this even after we have our deadline scheduled. So we need to reschedule our deadline. We need to come back to the drawing board and organize and put our heads together to see if we can get another new date that would work for the both of us. But from what I can see here, doesn't look good. But she is confident. She's confident that she would make the deadline. But good luck to her. Like I said, what she did not make up for in height, she's making up for in character. Okay, I'll give it to her. Well, Kelly's is having a conversation with Brit, and they are obviously debriefing on the event that happened at Shamea's birthday party. Now, it isn't quite clear what they make of it, as it is not quite clear to us what we have made of that particular scene. It is evident that they think Drew might have done something which is a no-no. We can see that. We can see that quite clearly. However, to the depth of which we don't know. And we're going to uncover this season, Before we get to Porsha and Dennis having a conversation, we did see Porsha and Kenya meeting up. And this is where Porsha, again, watched Simon. She decided to reveal all his legal woes, immigration woes, and everything that we have already come to see play out on social media. Now, Porsha is feigning ignorance, and I beg to differ. I feel Porsha knew everything that she is now using against this man. She knew just before the prenup was signed. There is no way during discovery she did not uncover a few that. However, she had an ulterior motive going in and marry this dude. According to her, she's number 5. I would think maybe more, because there'll probably be some Nigerian women. I did say this. I did call the demise of this marriage when they consummated the marriage. I did. I'm not sure I said it on air, but if I didn't, I said it. I said this is not looking good. If she had done her background check on this guy and his family, she would know not to deal with this dude. She did. But I guess there was more financial benefits to be had in that time before she made her exit, and she did. Now we can see how it's playing out. I think she reported this guy to ICE because of his immigration status. I think she left the marriage right before the debtors came to collect. Now, this is a smart woman. She's about to get into a new venture. She just signed a big contract with Real Housewives, the NBC network. That's going to bring money in millions. And if creditors are going to be coming for them, the unit, they're a marital couple. So her money would have been used to pay the debtors. So I think she's done the right thing by herself to secure and protect her finances, and less to do with what has happened, the infidelity. I don't think there was any infidelity. Simon doesn't look like someone that I'm sure he probably has had a few prostate cancers done, so I'm just putting it out there. You do the maths, even anything that has to do with prostate, okay? But I digress. Now, so her coming out and telling and feigning ignorance with Kenya is just BS to me. I don't buy it at all. Now, Shamea is now like the one that are like, okay, if you did not think about this particular play out whilst episode 1 aired, then you're crazy, because I thought about it. She talked about her baby that she conceived via surrogate that had, I think, some autistic. I don't want to put it out there, but there's something, there's something. She did say it herself. And I thought it, like, if you conceive the first child, why did you have to go through a surrogate to do the number 2? It turned out she did try IVF a few times, according to Shamea, and she was unsuccessful, hence the need to have sought a surrogate. Now, during the pregnancy, the surrogate was diagnosed with cancer, I think breast cancer, and the baby had to come out before the carrier to kickstart cancer medication and treatment. Now, I do not know, but I know in here in Australia, we do have a scan that does detect a baby's genetic, and there will be some abnormalities that will be detected in that scan that would require you to make a decision of early termination, stuff like that. Now, it depends on what side of the law and what moral high grounds and ethics you would like to take. Some people choose to, carry this type of pregnancy through to term and, deal with it and just see it as a blessing. And I don't know if that's one of the case for her, because it's again not clear. This might be uncovered. We'll get into it as the season progresses. But what we can now say is the baby came early because the carrier had early onset of breast cancer. And according to the carrier, she said maybe the baby actually saved her life because of the hormones. Pregnancy hormones does heighten cancer cells, because all of these things are driven by hormones. And so who knows, it could have been a blessing for the carrier and to have detected what she had early, and the reverse is the case, because Shamea's baby has got all of this Down syndrome going, but they are not attributing it to the carrier's diagnosis, neither are they attributing to any medical defect. It's not clear. But according to the carrier, Shamea is not to be blamed. According to Shamea, the carrier is not to be. So that's another angle and legalities that we are stuck with when it comes to surrogacy. It is still a new age process for conception for women who are unable to conceive or carry their baby through to term. We did find out that post this particular child, Shamea had an ectopic pregnancy. So again, it looks like it's not something that Shamea can do in carry a baby through to term. So they are seeking another surrogacy route. It appears this particular surrogacy is an agency where they outsource all of this. They've got people who are able to do this successfully. However, there are all of those legalities that is still coming of age that we are still trying to come to terms with. It is a very, very personal and emotional journey, and all the best to the parties that are involved. Now, this particular episode concluded with Porsha having a sit down with Dennis. Now, the conversation started out with them trying to play, with the daughter, Pilar. And very soon, I think there was an emotional blackmail in terms of tears. Porsha started trying to be emotional and trying to cry to get her point across. She left the room and was crying. I was confused by it. It was through producers that we found out that she's trying to get Dennis not to shoot and represent Drew on the show. And, she wants Dennis to be with her on the show to promote a healthy co-parenting regime, not Drew's career. Now, this is a hard one because Dennis is executive producing or managing Drew. So how's that going to work? If there's a contract there and you breach that contract, there's a duty of care. So I guess Drew can sue or no. Now, side note, Drew, Angela, and Shamea had a sit down at the gym or gym session where Angela called out Shamea for being Porsha's lapdog because she asked the question that everyone wanted to ask. Now, I think Angela was stretching with that one. I don't see it as a lapdog moment. This is a platform where you guys are all going to be airing like a dirty laundry. However it comes out, it does come out. Shamea wanted to know, and yeah, Shamea is Porsha's friend. She will definitely have her best interest at heart to want to ask the questions that is plaguing everyone's mind. And so for Angela, who's in support of Drew, to question that is like, Are you silly? Are you stupid? You should have known. You know better. You can see the dynamics that's at play. So why you are playing this card? Well, again, I like the way Shamea walked off because she didn't want it to go the level of an altercation between the three girls where there is no resolution. But she said what she said. She wanted to find out why Drew is hanging out with Dennis. So it appears that the reason why we're here it's not going to play out. Porsha is not going to get Dennis's as a solo content. It's going to be shared between her and Drew. So in what angle or to what extent this sharing is going to be involved, we don't know. But it's now very clear as day that the storyline is going to be Drew has her producer on the show, who is Dennis, and subject to this, Porsha's baby daddy is managing Drew, and make of it what you will. That's it. Like I said, it was a mess. It was all over the place, and we're gonna get more intel in episode 3. I'll see you guys then. You're deserving. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and remain focused.